Hey guys, this is Alabama Deep. I'm going to do another video today. I'm going to do something a little bit different. You know, multiple topics is what I like doing because that's like my mind. You know, having ADHD and everything, my mind's all over the place. Squirrel. So I'm over here today and I have a topic I've been wanting to do a video on. I just have not had the time to come out here. But I'm picking up an electric heater because I need one desperately. And I wanted to do a video on a serial killer that we had here in Birmingham, Alabama back during the 90s. Okay, now we could say 80s as well. His name was Jack Trawick. Okay, he was a very little short man from what I could see, and very homely, undesirable. In any case, with this particular gentleman, well, we won't call him a gentleman. He's a serial killer. He was a woman hater. Now, like most serial killers back in the day, you know, growing up, he was abused, and as a child, he did not have the greatest upbringing. And so because of that, and other issues that he did have, he had a hate for women. And with having a hate for women and his other issues from childhood and even mental issues came upon him doing the things that he did. And here in Birmingham, because we don't know from other states, though he claimed to have killed women in other states, elsewhere, Mr. Jack Trawick came over here to, I think it was called Eastwood Mall back then. And yeah, I have been in this particular mall in the past, and we're pulling up into it now, what's left of it. Now it's something totally different. But as we drive up here, this is the entrance Jack Trawick would have taken when he was stalking his victim from Irondale, Stephanie Gach. Now, Stephanie, she was 21 years old, and she lived over here in the Irondale area. And I can only assume her mother and father, they seem pretty well off. I'm assuming that they must have lived in Hoover or Inverness or the other nicer areas, though I'm not 100% sure of that. That's just what I get from it. And Stephanie, she went to Jeff State Community College at the time, and I as well attended that college here in Birmingham. And this is the parking lot that is one of the only things really left from Eastwood Mall. The whole building itself has been redone, and I'm going to show you what's left of that. That is this. And years and years ago, the whole mall was still standing here. Though now, to my surprise, as I pull up here to shoot the video, most of the mall is now gone. The parking lot's the same, the entrance the same, but everything else, this appears to be Amazon. I did not know that. But as we drive around what's left of the mall parking lot, this is it. And I'll go ahead and I'll tell you a little bit about this. Jack followed her here because Stephanie, after her classes at college that day, she decided to come to Eastwood Mall to do a little bit of shopping. And so she did. And Jack followed her in his van, or his mother's van, because he was living at his mother's house at the time. Actually really not too far from here, and I have been to Jack's house, though we will not be going there today, perhaps in another video. But this this is the spot where he actually followed Stephanie. And Stephanie went in, she did her shopping, and then she left. Jack followed her to her apartment, which is not far from here either. And Jack, being as he was for his MO for kidnapping women, though in the beginning he first started with prostitutes, he used a ball-peen hammer to hit them over the head, and he used a toy gun. And from what I gotten from court records, because most of the court records at this point are sealed, I was able to get online and find some of these court records that probably were sealed, but for some mistake, they're open to the public if you know where to go and look. And what happened that night? After she left this location, she went back to her apartment complex, and Jack came up to her and pulled a toy gun. Now, in the past, he also impersonated police officers, but in this particular case, I don't believe that was done. He simply pulled out his toy plastic gun and confronted her, and as he took her to the van, she began to struggle, so he hit her over the head with a hammer, little ball pin hammer. And that didn't totally knock her out, but he did get her into his van, and the rest is history. Her body was found a few miles from here off an embankment where she had been hit with a hammer, strangled, and stabbed to death, which is very, very sad and a horrible way to go. I wouldn't even be doing this video except for the fact that so much time has passed that most of Stephanie's family now has passed away. Her mother, her father. I know her sister is probably still alive, but being at her age, I don't think she'll be watching YouTube too much. But yeah, everything's been quiet about that. And at one time, I thought about doing a series on this, but I don't think I will, because Jack wanted to have a book written about him. And I don't think anyone should ever honor that request. So let's not do that. I talked to the police. Everything is still quiet. They're still trying to protect the family, and I agree with that 100%. Let old dogs lay where they are. But yeah, I've been wanting to speak about this simply because, you know, it's just an interesting topic. And Jack Trawick, as he was executed, I believe, in 1992. And I think Stephanie's murder was in 89. Jack asked for forgiveness. He said that he didn't deserve it, but he was going to ask for it anyway. Stephanie's mother could not attend his execution, but Stephanie's sister did. And he was put to death by lethal injection here in the great state of Alabama in 1992. I don't know what else there is really to say about Jack, except for he was just crazy. I think he was a schizophrenic from everything that I had seen on him. He wrote online to a guy named Neil, and Neil wanted to spread Jack's story everywhere, and he was causing more harm than he was good. So that eventually faded away. And during Jack Trawick's online letters that were published by Neil, he explains how he killed prostitutes and other people, or at least claimed to anyway, in the most gory and horrific manner you can think of. And I won't get into that here, because this is not the time nor the place, and there's really no pictures to show because the court records are sealed, and you can't get to any autopsy photos, which is just fine with me. I wouldn't use them anyway. You know, you got pictures of the deceased, that's personal and private. Keep it yourself. Don't splash it all over the internet. You know, give them the respect that they need. what else can I say about this topic in this video? Jack claimed to have saved trophies from these people by removing nipples and putting them in a box. I don't know if any of that's true. I don't think so. I think he was more mouth than he was anything else, though it's certainly clear that he did absolutely kill a few women. And I'm waiting for this light to turn red, and it doesn't seem to want to. But yeah, you know, Jack Trawick, being more mouth than he was anything else, claimed to kill more people than what he actually did. I mean, I just don't believe some of it. Now, some of it I can, especially around the Birmingham area. Certain areas that he talked about does match up to what he says in his letters that Neil published online. And I believe he was actually there, and I do believe that actually happened. So I'll say he probably killed 3 women. The rest is up for debate, and only Jack knows for sure. And I'm trying to get on here to turn onto the interstate. Gosh, driving to Birmingham can be so hard. But in any case, that is Birmingham's serial killer, Jack Trawick. If anyone is interested in this unknown serial killer, you can look him up on Google. You can find his stories that were published and crimes that he claimed he committed. And if you look into Stephanie Gock's court records, as I did, which I did several years ago, all this is from memory, you can find those court records, and I believe most of those were in fact supposed to be sealed, but they're online. Now you're not going to be able to find any coroner pictures or anything like that, but you can definitely find the details of the court case, which I don't think that should be out there. So if there's any Jefferson County police officers here in Birmingham that are watching this video, hey, you may want to look into that, because those shouldn't be open to the public if the details are supposed to be sealed, and there's the details online that I can pull up after about 15-20 minutes of looking. You know, so I think it was overlooked. But I did go down to the Jefferson County Courthouse, and I did get what records I could, which has Jack's signature on it. And I have those in an envelope, and I never did throw them away. I guess maybe I should have. But nonetheless, I have those, and there's some information in that, but not terribly a whole lot. And, you know, I just, from everything that I've read, I believe Jack was a schizophrenic. He was sick mentally, for sure. And, you know, Jack is one of those serial killers kind of like Ted Bundy. Ted admitted that he was evil. And Jack Trawick said the same thing about himself. So I don't believe Jack was a sociopath. Okay, I think he was just schizophrenic, because a sociopath will never admit that they're evil, and they will never admit any wrongdoing, and, you know, they blame everything on their victims. And of course, you know they were forced to do it by them, of course, but, you know, Jack didn't do that. Jack actually was chemically castrated in hopes that this would help him stop committing the acts that he was committing. Back in his early days, and I forget exactly which town that was, but he was looked into with one of his first murders there. And, you know, he asked for chemical castration. And, you know, I believe Jack truly wanted him to stop, but he just wasn't able to. The urge to kill was there, and he could not deny his urges. You know, it's like it was, you know, born into him to do what he did. And, you know, I know there's a lot of cops and other detectives out there that's going to say that Jack was pure evil. I don't think he was pure evil. He was just a very sick man. I mean, he admitted what he did was wrong, and I am told the day of his execution, after he prayed and asked for forgiveness, I am told that he died more peacefully than his victims did. And that whole day he was in a great mood, just being glad it was going to be over with. And that sounds like a man who was tortured. That sounds like a man who was at the end of his ropes and just couldn't stand it anymore. So, I don't think Jack was totally evil. Jack was just a very sick person. I don't know what else to say in this video. I think that covers just about everything. And I wanted to show you what was left of Eastwood Mall. And I'm sorry that the whole mall wasn't there anymore, because I could have pointed out the exact location where Jack said he was in the parking spot, watching Stephanie and following her all the way back to her apartment. And I do remember that mall. It had a big giant white singing bear for Christmas, and that, of course, that was back in the mid to late 90s. And finally the mall closed down, and it sat there vacant and empty for years, and now it looks like Amazon's there. And it looks like they tore down a lot of that building and closed it off, and now that's their shipping center. So, okay, good to know. I don't know, I have to give it some thought if I do any other follow-up video ups on Jack Trawick. I do have his pictures, and I do have some court records, and all this stuff, because he was an interesting case, especially being from Birmingham. But I don't think I'm going to, because you cannot find hardly anything on him online at this point unless you know what you're looking for. And I really think it should be left that way. This will be one of the few videos that ever mentions his name. And maybe in a way that's giving him, credit in a way. So maybe this isn't such a good video. But at the same time, for those who have the topic of serial killers, Jack's an unknown one. Some people know about him. His letters, you can buy them at Murderabilia. And you can, get some more information on Jack. But for the most part, there's just nothing out there on him. And maybe that's the way it should be left. So anyway, this is Alabama Deep. I'm out of here. I'm on Highway 59 right now, heading back to my house. So let me get my eyes on the road, and I'll see y'all next time.